Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I decided to present to you guys another deck post September 2018 ban list. It's Monarchs, as you can already tell. It's a pretty good low budget option, a really strong anti-meta deck. The only problem with Monarchs is like they always have the potential of bricking, but I found some new spicy tech cards that lessen the brickiness by like a lot, and considering that card destruction is now unbanned, it's actually a pretty good card to, like help you refresh your hand, that way you can have a better start whenever you're playing Monarchs. Now this is a deck that generally likes to go first. You want to try to lock out your opponent as quickly as you can and basically remove access from his extra deck, that way he doesn't gain an upper hand against you. And that's what we're going to get to today. So starting off, you're going to be running 3 copies of Erebus, the Underworld Monarch. This guy's literally the best monster in the deck, mainly because his ability does not target. But when he's tribute summoned, you can send 2 Monarch Speller Traps to the grave and then shuffle back 1 card from your opponent's field, grave, or 1 random card from his hand. So again, this does not target, so that's why it's really good. Moving on, we have Aether, which sadly is still only at 1, but she's still a really viable asset for this deck. But like Erebus, if she's tribute summoned, you get to send 2 Monarch Speller Traps, but only she actually, instead of shuffling back cards, she lets you special summon an additional Monarch with 2,400 or more attack points, as long as it has 1,000 defense. But at the end of the turn, it goes back to your hand. But Aether also allows you to tribute summon her during your opponent's turn, during your opponent's main phase, by banishing 1 Monarch Speller Trap, so that's why it's really good. And Aether, unfortunately, is at 1 because of that, because she's just way too powerful. But hey, again, she's really strong. You definitely want to run her still. So yeah. Moving on, we have the Stalos, the Mega Monarch, which is, in my opinion, one of the better Mega Monarchs for this format, because he's basically this deck's version of Aqua Dolphin. When this card is tribute summoned, you get to look at your opponent's entire hand and discard 1 card from their hand. And if it was a monster card, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original level by 200. And of course, if this card was tribute summoned using a fire monster, you can inflict 1,000 points of damage, but we don't run any other fire monsters, unfortunately. But overall, the ability to discard 1 card and look at your opponent's hand at the same time definitely pays off. Moving on, we have Karaz. Can't say much else, that he just helps you plus. You mainly pop him. Whenever you summon him, you mainly just have him pop himself in what other dead draws you may have, just to get 2 additional draws. So that's why Karaz is still really good. Because mainly, and the only problem with him is that he can't attack on the turn he's summoned. But overall, it's still a really good card. It helps you get a lot of pluses, so yeah. Next up, we're running 2 copies of Vanity's Fiend. Pretty standard, just to keep your opponent from special summoning monsters. Of course, it affects you too, but most of the time it doesn't hinder you, because you mainly just tribute summon a lot. Kind of like True Dracos, so that's why Vanity's Fiend is still a good card. And then finally, 1 Majesty's Fiend, which is the last of our big monsters. Majesty's Fiend just keeps your opponent, or both players, from activating monster effects, but if it's like a passive effect, it doesn't do anything. But Majesty's Fiend is really good just because, like it cancels out hand traps, it cancels out pretty much anything that could be a bit of a problem. So yeah, you definitely want to run 1 Majesty's Fiend at least, because he keeps your opponent from activating monster effects from anywhere. Hand, field, graveyard, nothing. Alright, for the engines, we're running 3 Adias. Gotta have them just because, she lets you special summon Eidos, which also you want to run at 3. So Adia lets you special summon Eidos, and Eidos lets you have an additional tribute summon in addition to your normal summon. So yeah, and he's also good because you can banish him from the graveyard, special summon back Adia, and then get the duo back. Now unfortunately, those abilities can't stack on top of each other, so they're all strictly hard once per turns. Another good thing about Adia is that when she leaves the field, you get to add 1 of your banished Monarch Speller Traps back from your banishment back to your hand. So great card. Definitely run each of them at 3. And then finally, just because these cards are free summons and easy tribute fodder, we're running 2 copies of Kaiser Force Raider. Back then I used to run Link Slayer. You could do one or the other. It's as long as it's a monster that can special summon itself, as long as you control no monsters, you definitely want to run them. But I like Kaiser Force Raider because if he's destroyed by battle, your opponent's monsters get weakened by 500 points. And also, he gains 500 points whenever he successfully destroys a monster in battle. So if you can manage to perform that really well, then yeah, you can definitely boost him up a lot higher. But yeah, Kaiser Force Raider, definitely a must. Alright, so now we're moving on to the spells and traps. We're running 3 copies of Domain of the True Monarchs. One of the best field spells ever in my opinion, mainly because as long as you control a tribute summon monster, your opponent cannot access your extra deck, but it only works if you don't have an extra deck, so just keep that in mind. Running Triple Tenacity, which is basically our terraforming of the deck, and it searches out any other Monarch spell or trap as long as you reveal one monster with 2400 or 2800 and 1000 defense. For draw strength, we're running 2 copies of Celestial Observatory, and this is one of the new spicy tech cards because you could literally use Domain to make one of your level 8s a level 6 as well. You can send one level 6 monster from your hand or face up on the field to the bottom of the deck, draw 2 cards. So it's a great card to run. I kind of like this a lot better than the Allure Darkness tech. So yeah, Celestial Observatory is definitely a great card to try out. It really helps lessen the brickiness by a lot. So yeah. 2 Return of the Monarchs, just because, helps us search out all other Monarchs as long as, you perform a tribute summon once per turn. 1 March, just to, add a protection, keeps your tribute summon monsters from being targeted or destroyed by card effects. Another good draw card, Pantheism, which is still at 1 right now, because it's literally one of the strongest draw strength cards out there. So yeah, it definitely shows why it needs to stay at 1. 1 Stormforth, which is also at 1, but not a problem. You can easily recycle this card. 1 for 1. Rhoda. Foolish Burial. And of course, the new unbanned Card Destruction. And this card really helps this deck out a lot. I know it's mainly focused the card's mainly unbanned, mainly to focus more on dangers, but Monarchs can actually benefit a lot from Card Destruction because, like, if you open up with dead cards like Prime Monarch, which you never really want to open with, it basically, like I said, just helps you replenish your hand and kind of like get cards that you might need in the graveyard, like Erebus, because Erebus does need to be in the graveyard half the time, which I forgot to mention. Erebus's graveyard effect. You can send 1 Monarch spell or trap from your hand to the grave and add any Monarch with 2400 or more attack with 1000 defense, including himself. So yeah, that's why Card Destruction is definitely a good tech card to run. And then for the traps, running 2 Monarchs Erupt, basically skill drain. It just doesn't affect tribute summon monsters. 2 Prime Monarch, and 1 Escalation. And Prime Monarch's just there just because it counts as a monster as well. So you banish 1 Monarch spell or trap from your graveyard, and you can special summon it in defense mode. And it's easy trade fodder, because that's basically what this deck does. It's like you just plus over and over again. So I know there's True Dragos and all that, and True Dragos pretty much do a similar fashion with this, with tribute summons. But if you're looking for just something slightly cheaper, then yeah, Monarchs is a good option as well. So moving on to the side deck, we got 1 Rise of the Mega Monarch, which lets you target 1 monster on the field and 1 card in either player's graveyard. Also, if this card was tribute summoned using a win monster, you can target an additional card on the field. But anyway, you place the first targets to the top of the deck in any order. Also, after that, return the additional target, if any, to the hand. So, really good card. Moving on, we got Caius the Mega Monarch, which is really strong against like Dark Magicians or any dark base deck. Because if it's tribute using a dark type monster, you can inflict 1000. Well, first off, if you banish, you can target 1 card on the field, banish it, and if you do, inflict 1000 points to your damage. And if it was a dark monster, banish all cards with that name from the main deck or extra deck and or graveyard of the player who controlled it. And of course, if this card was tribute using a dark monster, you can target 1 additional card, so you get to target 2 cards. Moving on, we got Mithra, which is another free summon card. And what's good about her is that if she's used for a tribute summon, you get to tribute summon again. So this one helps you stack up the tribute summon capabilities. For side spells, I decided to try 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. So if you don't want to try out the what do you call it? The draw strength cards like Celestial Observatory or Card Destruction, these are good side cards. They also help you get your Prime Monarchs to the graveyard faster, or even Pantheism. So like, and they're also good cards to bait out Ash Blossom as well. So that's why Foolish Burial Goods is still good. 2 Called by the Graves, since it's semi-limited. I was running it at 3 at the main deck, but unfortunately it's not as viable as I would have wanted it now. But now I have more than 1 way to bait out the hand trap, so that's why I decided to side it out. 1 Monster Gate and Reasoning, just because, I figured this helps you, excavate your deck a little faster. That way, you can get to your monsters, like the monsters you do need faster, and you don't end up wasting your normal summon. And with reasoning, your opponent's not really gonna call it right most of the time, because the most common level to call is level 4, but we don't run any level 4s. And if they call level 6 and you happen to get Kaiser Force Raider, hey, you're pretty much good. And for Floodgates, 2 anti-spell fragrances. I figured they were pretty good. For the last 3 cards, I don't have anything for the last 3 yet. I'm thinking about maybe Gozen Match, but I haven't decided on what the last 3 cards for my subject are going to be yet. So, but if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys again on the next one.